Hello everybody. I'm going to take this down because I'm probably going to walk around too much. And I'm actually starting to get sick as well, so thanks Debs for the water. So just want to start by saying to everybody thank you so much for all your donations and help getting over there. It was I was blown away by the amount of support that Mouse and I got. It's ridiculous, you know. It's like Easter camp every year. The church comes together and we manage to take heaps of kids and all that kind of stuff. It was just the same doing this. It was just, I wouldn't have been able to do it without your guys' help, and even had help from outside of church as well. Some people from the Baptist Youth Ministries even helped by donating us some money and stuff as well, so that was really cool. So the conference, wow, my head is still spinning from everything that went on there. Just not only just the seminars I went to, but also having the talks with the different pastors from different areas. There was council workers there from like big cities and all over America. So it's just, I can't even begin to describe how valuable it was. Not only for me, but I think for the church as well. And I think by going there, it showed me as well that we're not the only church that's maybe starting to dwindle in numbers, having issues with this and having issues with that. Every church all around the world is the same, and they're all kind of struggling and realizing, hey, maybe we need to do something different, and community is so important as a part of that. So it was very awesome. There was a couple of things that happened while I was there as well that I just kind of, it was on the very first day of the pre-conference, and it kind of blew me away. For so long now, Mum and Dad have been standing up here saying for such a time as this. In the very first little talk that we had, a guy stood up and he was like, we're all here for such a time as this. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like how am I not meant to be here right now? And then the whole thing with the burn the church, I was talking to one of the guys, and his whole thing is he works with churches, getting funding for them and helping them rebuild and build new churches and things like that. And he said that church is like an acorn, and some of you might have heard this who were listening the other day to the live thing, but church is like an acorn where it's fallen from the tree, and it's just sitting there. But after a church, not a church, after a church is lit on fire, no, after an acorn is lit on fire, that's when it starts seeding, and that's when it starts growing into something massive. And he said, as a church, we need to be lighting that fire. We need to be in that fire. And I was like, well, hashtag burn the church. Yeah. And he was like, I don't understand. I was like, you will. But so many different little quote things that I got, you know, like simple things like, don't just say something from the safety of the pulpit, actually get out and do it. So as well, if we want to know what's in our neighbourhood and know what to do, we have to go for a walk. So that's what we're going to do one Sunday after church. I'll tell you when, you know, we'll all bring our walking shoes and we're just going to literally just walk around the neighbourhood and just see what's going on. This guy was like, he lived next to a big apartment building, and he said he tried to introduce himself to everyone there, but there was one couple that he could never introduce himself to and never meet. So he's like, stuff it, and started just, when they brought their rubbish out, he'd go and look in his rubbish bin and like pull all his rubbish out and go, oh, okay, so this is the kind of person that this person is, and how can I try and engage with him in the way that he's just throwing out an iPad wrapper, and he likes this kind of chocolate and this and that. So a little bit creepy, but I'm keen. Cup with you, Fred? No. I think so. Just quickly with a couple of those questions, one of the things that they really spoke about was timelines, and for a timeline, that's something that is going to have to be discussed how long we want something to take, or different stages of it. And there'll be reasons why we want different stages of this and different stages of that, and how this is going to work and how that's going to work, and what time it is. So that's going to have to be a discussion that we need to really start having, because we've been talking about what we want to do for quite a while now. And before I even went to the States, Mum found an old mission statement. Was it a mission statement? I wish we had a photo of it because it was awesome. From 2006. I didn't even know that it existed. And on this mission statement, it said everything that we were wanting to do, from intentional living to having a cafe. Literally was all written out there, and it was like, well, let's get some wheels on this, because we've been talking about it since 2006. So why haven't we done anything yet? So we need to put some wheels on it and keep going. And I think to start with, we're talking about, hey, let's demolish this potentially and build a building, but let's say that's going to take 5 years. So we still have to, in that time, get into our community and still use this building for the next 5 years, we're going to just say. So we need to do things to this while we've got it, and we need to get into the community while we still can. There's no point in just building a cafe and going, sweet, we've got a cafe. It's not what we want from it. So simple things like, I've been talking with a couple of people, the sign out the front there, the really old one and then the not so old one are both kind of a bit useless now. They're falling apart, and so what I want to do is I want to chop it off, and I want to put a seat on it, and then in front of that I want to put a basketball hoop. That sounds like something really easy and little to do, but we used to have a basketball hoop down the back. Who remembers having the basketball hoop? Yeah. We had that down the back, and people just used to come off the street and just play basketball in the hoop. So how simple is that? We put up a basketball hoop, people start coming and using our car park. So we'll lose 2 car parks because I want to paint like a proper basketball court thing and all that. But people will walk along the street and go, cool, there's a seat, let's sit there and play some basketball or whatever, Something simple like that is just what we need to do. And it might cost a little bit of money, but not much really. Another thing that they spoke about was when we were walking around, I walked around for the whole day all around Seattle, and there's so many hills. It's so tiring. And what they were talking about is we walked up to this building and we looked at this one building and they said, who likes this building? And we were all like, yeah, that's a really cool looking building, like the architecture and blah, blah. And I was going, yeah, because all these guys are important people, when I was just like, yeah, I'm an abseiler. And they were like, who wants to go in there? And we were all like, yeah, that's an awesome entranceway. We want to see what's inside. If the entranceway looks like that, imagine how cool inside's going to be look. And then they went, right, look at this building. And we went, yuck, that's an ugly building. And they said, look at the entranceway. And it was some old cold doors. And we went, who wants to go in there? And everyone was like, no, we don't want to go in there. I don't want people to walk past our church and go, that looks old and dated and boring, and I don't want to see what's inside there. I want people to walk past and go, dang, there's heaps of cars there, there's people talking outside, there's a basketball hoop, it's nicely painted, just go and see what it's like inside. And then when they come in, they get scared and it's too late because they're already trapped. and then we lock the doors. Yeah, you guys think I'm joking. So one thing that I really, really want to do, and I've been talking and thinking about this for a while, is I want to put a massive deck out the front. And I mean massive. What did I say? 12 metres by 12 metres. That's a big deck. So out the front, the bit of asphalt there that is ruined. So people keep walking in that and bringing in dirt, and it doesn't look very nice and all that kind of stuff. It's actually going to cost about $6 or $7 grand to get that small bit replaced. And I was like, why don't we just hide it by building an awesome deck on there? How inviting does a deck look? One thing they said, so in America, you've got your front porch or you've got your back deck. And they were like, how many people have got a front porch? And a few people put their hands up, and she was like, yeah, awesome. They said, who's got a back deck? And she went, you're an idiot, kind of thing, because on your front porch, people can see you. You can go, hey, how's it going, as they walk past. But on the back deck, you're doing your own thing and no one can see you. So we need to be a front porch church. And that means having stuff going on out there. So that's what I would love to see. And honestly, something in what we're doing right now with Kai Sunday, food brings people together. Everybody loves food and everybody loves eating. Yeah? Yeah. Who said no? I'll lock you in here. And that's what they're saying over there. Food and coffee. Coffee. Tea. Oh, maybe you can have some tea. But that's going to bring people together. Yeah? So things like buying a coffee machine. And offering that, this morning, how many people knew that there was a fun run on? 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 people knew there was a fun run on? 5? Yeah. So we missed a massive opportunity. We've been talking about, hey, let's get into the community. If we don't know what's happening, we don't know there's a fun run on. It was driving into with Mel's, and I was like, why are we not standing on the side of the road giving people waters as they run past? That's simple, Hey, we might have a few less people here at church on a Sunday, but we're out there getting into the community. And that's what we need to be doing, and the night markets. We should be down there. So, if we've got a coffee machine, and Mum spoke about waiting Wednesdays, they come in, hey, yeah, give us a koha for a coffee, whatever it is. Have a coffee. Go sit back in your car, that's fine. Or sit on our awesome deck, and listen to some music or whatever. And then at the night markets, we go and do the same thing. We've got the same name on our coffee machine. We're all wearing our Te Aratu Baptist T-shirts. And then they know that this is a part of something. And then when we move into the cafe, everyone goes, oh, and puts them all together and goes, yes. Right, so a lot of time over there we spent talking about third places. And so I would love to, eventually, I'm not saying if actually, I'm saying when we get a cafe, I want to call it the third place. So the third place is, first place is your home, second place is your work environment, and third place is a place where you go and you can just hang out and you can be. So a church, technically, is a third place, a cafe is a third place, a library is a third place. So why not call it what it is, the third place cafe? And we can give a little explanation on that, because some people are like, third place, why do you like third place in the line of cafes, like in Auckland, or that's just a creepy 3-eye thing, or whatever Anya said this morning. So just think a name like that's going to get people thinking and going, third place, what is, and it's a simple name too. And if we started that with a coffee machine in here, when people come for Waiting Wednesdays, or to Mainly Music, or church on a Sunday, or whatever, then they're going to see it around more and more and more. Especially if we go to family days and fun runs and everything. There's so many simple things that we can do that we haven't been doing, that literally been smacking us in the face the whole time. Like Mainly Music, I was down here the other day at Mainly Music. How many mums did you have at Mainly Music? 20 kids. So how many parents? 17 to 19 mums / caregivers here. How many were from church? 3? 3 from church. Imagine having just, a few more people here just talking to these mums or these caregivers. I know that William and Mum and all the people that do come to it are already doing an amazing job at that, but how are we not tapping into that just a little bit more? You know what I mean? And it's right there. Same as what Manuela's doing with the book swap. We've got 12 women from the community coming to swap books. Books aren't my thing, and obviously men are not allowed to do it because we're going to build a deck. Yeah. But all the women should be coming. When is it? 3 p.m. Oh, good. On the 12th. There you go. Yeah, I challenge all the women to be there. Well, there you go. Just show up and have a cup of tea or whatever, you know. So, just things like that. It's just so important, and we need to drill that into each other, that little things are going to make such a difference. Have you got a question for me, or just... Why do things need to change? Because things have been the same for a long time, and things are always changing, and if we don't change with it, then we're going to get left behind. That was, again, a massive thing that they're talking about over there. Things just keep changing and changing and changing. And change it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be fast. But if we don't, then we're going to be left behind. When are we going for coffee? As soon as we get a coffee machine here, I'll make you a coffee. I tell you what, we'll go. Who's been to Crave? Who's been to Crave Cafe? Yeah, Crave Cafe. So the Crave Cafe guys, that's Blue, who came and spoke. They're the guys that I went to America with. And oh my God, I love coffee. Right, I've had 2 coffees this morning already. These guys have so much coffee, like all the time. They're like, right, there's a coffee shop. And then we're walking like to the next seminar, and they're like, oh, there's a coffee shop. And you sit down and you've got to have a coffee, but you have this coffee, and then they're like, oh, yeah, try this one as well. Oh, yeah, and then you've got to talk about it and what it's about. And I was just like, I just want to drink a coffee. I feel like I'm getting roasted about drinking these coffees. So these guys like no food, no coffee, all this kind of stuff, and that's what they're doing. I mean, Graham and Gail went there the other day for the first time. Actually, not the first time for Gail, because she's hip and cool. She's trying to change Graham to be hip and cool as well. Shame, Graham. Our Porerehua, he's learning today, so he is hip and cool. So our Porerehua that we have, the wind, the humming thing, yep. So I gave that to Blue. I took it to him. There's things happening with Blue and in his life that I almost think even legally I can't really talk about. But it's the kind of thing, so the meaning of the Porerehua, that it comes from his soul, whatever his soul is going out into the noise and into the soul of those who are listening. It's something he's going to need real soon. And so I went to Crave and I gave it to him, and he was just like, oh my goodness, this is the coolest thing in the world. So no, because he was actually in a meeting and I disrupted his meeting. So I don't really care. So, but I don't know if he was even going to be able to hear it because he's so deaf, but he can try. What inspired me most on my trip? Man, why did I read that one out? I think just seeing all of the different people, and so these guys that were running the conference, these are big wigs like in the world. They're massive dudes, really important dudes. We were around at their houses at night. I think 3 nights in a row we had dinner with them. That was insane, getting to have dinner with these guys that are running this conference. But I would never have got the chance to do that if I wasn't with these guys who I went with. It was just incredible getting to spend this time and talking to them about what's happening literally all around the world with things, and knowing that we're not alone in what we're doing. That was pretty good. What would an ideal vision look like for you? We need to print out those mission statements from 2006, because I think nothing's changed. And it's amazing that in 2000, how old was I in 2006? Quick maths, come on, Debs. 18. Oh, we're Oh, yeah, that was quick maths. I was 18. Wow, that's embarrassing. Yeah, too young. Yeah. I'd already been working for 4 years by then as well, so yeah. Anyway, So 2006, I mean, I wasn't on the board and I probably wasn't too interested in what a mission statement was. Who was here in 2006? Right, so the mission statement, from then, and I don't know about it, but that's still how I see the church going, and I'm sure it's still a lot of people, how a lot of people, that have come, new and old people, that are still wanting to see it go in that same direction. So I think we need to print it out, have a look at it, and maybe even tweak it a little bit. I don't know. So I think the vision still stays the same. I was just looking at the kids. How can we best help our community? The thing is, with our community, is they already do community really well, like so well. Like I was talking with Nigel. He's from the Crave guys, and he was like, "You guys in Te Atatu Peninsula, you're like the best community ever, and how are you not involved in that already?" He was like almost shocked, and so I think it's more the community help us get into the community. And I think little simple things like doing, when we had the power cut, we literally were open every night. No one came down. It doesn't matter. That's besides the point. People know now. Hey, remember the time that we had the massive power cut and the church opened their doors for the whole week? Just in case. You want to talk about it?
Yeah. So it's really hard. I'm sitting there thinking, there's so many things that I want to say. Firstly, I just want to say that, when we did open our doors to the community, then yesterday I got a message from somebody saying that their friend was a solo mum, 4 children under about 9, and the baby was under 1. And she'd been given notice in her rental, and then she'd been trying to get a house. She got involved with the Housing New Zealand, so she's on the waiting list for a house through Housing New Zealand. She got an extension to stay there a little bit longer. The extension came to end, and she still could not get into a house anywhere. So she had spent, this was yesterday, she'd spent the night before in her car with her 4 children. And this person messaged me, said, "Do you know if there's anybody in the church that might be able to help them?" And I just immediately went back and said, "That's so sad. They can come and stay in our church." And so immediately I said to this person, "We don't have a shower, but we've got everything else." And so immediately I spoke to David, because he'd already talked about hiring a shower the week that we had the church open for the community. So I really felt like that was a bit of a test, and I know that God only says in the Bible to test him about finances, but I really felt like it was would you really open the door? And after I'd said that to her, I had to think, right, what does that actually mean? It means we have to provide some beds for them, some air mattresses or squabs, something like that, and they didn't come. They obviously found somewhere else to go, but we have to be ready to do that kind of thing. And believe me, coming into winter, it might happen, and imagine that in the past few years, the homeless people have ended up at the maraes. And why can't this place be like a marae for people to come and get some shelter? And it's going to cost us. It's going to cost us time, huge amount of time to do something like that. It's going to cost us financially. We'd have to get some showers, whether we hired them or even looking at buying them or whatever. It would cost us, and it would cost us financially as far as providing tea, coffee, possibly even food for these people. So are we prepared to do that? I think yes. So I think that's just an incredible opportunity for what we might end up doing. So, and I just wanted to say too, I wanted to talk about this whole revolution and what's happening in the lives, maybe more so of our young people. But when we have our AGM, we've got 3 people who will probably come into membership, at least 3. And I think that's amazing in this day and age. Baptism. Stand up if you're going to get baptised. How cool is that? And I know that there are others who are thinking about it and they haven't done a baptism study yet. You can sit back down, guys. They're going to do a study, and so there might be others who will say, yeah, actually, I think it's time for me to be baptised. And especially if they're challenged that if they want to get their lives right with God, then that's a step they've got to take, and they're going to have to be involved in this whole revolution of what's actually happening here. So, I think that... Sorry, I just wanted to give you a little bit of context about some of the stuff that's going on during the week and in people's lives. It's exciting.
How much for the coffee? It depends. I mean, around $4,000 or $5,000 for a decent one. And we do need a decent one. You can't make decent coffee with a useless machine. But when I was talking with William about it the other day, and it's not going to be a financial thing. We're going to have to obviously learn how to use it properly, learn how to make good coffee, because again, we're not going to serve yuck coffee because no one's going to want to come back and have it. So it's going to take, when we want to be using it, there's going to have to be someone here. You're saying you want to do that. Yeah. I've also got a friend, Rosie, she's a barista as well, and she said she will. I've got so many people that have said that they're keen to help us, to make a good coffee. So we might have to give them away for free at first if they're not very good. But again, that's going to have to be a conversation that we have about how we go about that. And a few other things that they said is, out of 50 good ideas that we have to do at least 3 of them. And that, and if 1 or 2 of those fails, that's actually okay. Again, Nigel was saying if we don't fail, we're not trying hard enough, or we're taking it too easy. We have to be prepared to do something wrong or to fail to actually move forward in what we want to do. So, I have no idea. Tomorrow, hopefully. Yeah, no. No. But I'd like it to be. Yeah. Has anyone got any other questions or anything? Hang on a second, Nicola. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So firstly, talking with the Crave crew, they said a cafe is a really good way of losing money. So it's not about making money. We would run it as like a not-for-profit thing, and it would be completely different to what Servo or anything else up there would be. It would be a place where, I mean, I'm not a fan of Servo, so we'd serve good food and good coffee. But yeah, that's not going to make me a favourite person. But, there's nowhere on the peninsula where I can go, let's have a work meeting with 10 people in a space that I can get coffee and lunch and in a boardroom and have a TV in there or whatever so we can Skype people or whatever. There's nowhere on the peninsula where you can do that. So it's looking at that. And it's about offering different things as well. I was talking with Abby today and she's like, no one on the peninsula does vegan food, So we'd put a vegan menu on there, and that would be it. There are vegan people here. Yeah, exactly. So, but it's about so with Crave, and I keep talking about Crave because they're kind of the only ones that are doing this. With their profit, what they do is they either put it back into their neighbourhood by having their neighbourhood parties or whatever, or they put it into the neighbourhood of Te Fund or the Royal Workshop, and that's what I'd love to see happening. And so it would be kind of almost like a standalone thing. It would be a part of church, but not, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I am amazing, yeah. Yeah.
So the thing is, what we would also do with, if we had a cafe, is that we would offer almost like seminars. So we might say, okay, on Friday night we're going to open, and we're going to have somebody who will come in here and talk about men's health. And so we would open that up to the community. Come in, you can hear someone talk about men's health. You know, we might open it up for somebody to display their art. What'd you say? Yeah. Look, maybe we could open it up. You've all got a little booklet on your table about the Kai food that Kimberly has been involved in. Now, maybe we get some people together and say, right, we're going to do some cooking classes, and so we're going to teach you how to cook cheap, healthy meals, and we're going to do that 4 nights, of the term. So it'll be Monday, and you can come in and we'll do that. So it's not just about having a place to come and have good coffee. It's really not just about that. There's so much more that will run out of that. And it will be known that it's a cafe that's connected to our church. Yep. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it will be. We're really hoping that it will be a place that our community comes to in a big way. If you are going to a cafe, I highly recommend that you visit the cafes that are on our peninsula. If you're going out for, to have coffee with a friend, go and have one here. Support these cafes. Get to know them. And maybe go to Crave. If you go to Crave, it is buzzing. There's so many people there, and it's a place that they come together in. So people come into the, from the community to that place, and there's lots of other cafes, but what we offer will be something that's very different. Norm. Crave is in Morningside. Yeah. Well, it's separate, but they also run Mosaic, which is their church, but the church is the Crave is run by a collective of people, and then the church is kind of second to that, so it's kind of come out from that group of people. And is it? Yeah. So it's about having a third place where people come and gather, and then what can we offer that is going to help, as far as social justice is concerned, as far as supporting our neighbourhood in their daily living. And I think that's what God wants us to be doing. He wants us to be loving our neighbour, and if that means that we open a cafe up so that we can show somebody in our community's artwork, have an art, we call it an art something or other, exhibition, that's the one. We're supporting that person, and that's about being community. Yep, okay. Yep. for sure. Yep. Yeah. 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 Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We do. We need a party pastor. We do. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah. We do. Absolutely, we need to have that. And I guess the thing is, we've got so many ideas and we know where we want to go, but it's figuring out how to get there. So we are having a kaitiaki hui, which means a leadership meeting, on the last Saturday of, the 26th. So it's the day before our AGM. We're going to get together as a leadership team and spend the day and talk about all of this stuff, and maybe even try and think about, there's a question here, what comes first? Well, we all try and come up with what comes first. I think the first thing is going to be getting a basketball hoop out there. Joan. You mean in this? In the front, at the front. I really don't know. Our immediate thing. Yeah, well that. Yeah. So David's actually managed to find the big leak that we had in the ceiling, and he's fixed it. Amazing. He saved us thousands of dollars. That's been amazing to have that happen. There's a few minor leaks that he's still got to fix. So, that's sorted out really, Joe, which is absolutely amazing. And we talked about, Roger and I talked about it, about, well, if we're going to have people come into our building, how precious are we going to be about this space here? We have to recognise that we are the church. This is the building. And if we can make a mind shift to that, then we're not going to worry if we have 100 people sleeping in here at night. We have the space. I just can't believe we don't use this. There are so many people out there who are sleeping in cars or sleeping in tents somewhere. Sleeping in a tent in a cemetery. And we have a building that's empty most of the time. And we need to start thinking bigger than what we do. We need to open this place up where people know that this place is available. And, that is scary. That's really scary. It means we're going to have a lock-up place. We might have to have something that we can lock up our sound gear. We might need to get this built here so we can lock stuff in there, so that this place, we don't have to worry about people coming in here. There's nothing that they can break or harm. It might mean that we have to buy some mattresses, some foam squabs. If you go to a marae, they'll have a big room that would be the size of that end part of the church, and it's full of just foam mattresses and blankets. Yeah, so that's big. It's really big, because it's not just about giving them a place to stay. It's about saying, how can we help you get into a house? How can we help hook you into Vision West? to, you know, some emergency housing. It's, you know, and okay, well, you haven't got a job, so let's take you to WINZ and help you get a job, help you get some training, help you get on your feet, you know, Joe. No. I think no, they're not insulated, and that's the thing. And that's where we talked, where could we put these people that it's warm? And we thought about that room. Well, we'd have to get mobile showers. That's what we'd have to get. That would be the big thing. But, you know, look, it didn't happen. And it didn't happen that anybody came in to cook their dinner, but that doesn't matter. We've been available, and it's a mind shift in like I said, about how precious we are about this building, you know. And if we get people in here, you know, we might get a bit of broken glass, somebody might put a foot through the wall, that kind of thing, you know, wear and tear, spillage on the floor. I could come up with a whole lot of things that, you know, might go wrong, but if we did that, we would be loving our neighbour in a way bigger way than maybe any of us have ever thought before. So I think for you to know that your leadership is really trying to nut this out, you know, we're trying to know the right steps to take, and God seems to be giving us one step at a time, and that's probably good, because, you know, if you think about this place filled with people, it's going to take an army of people to look after them. Who feels excited about this? I know it's scary, and you know, change is difficult, but it's also really exciting when you know that God is in it, and I totally believe that He is. Sorry, kind of.
I just wanted to go back to your question, Nicola, about the cafe. And one of the things that's really, like I've been to Crave a few times now, and one of the things that I've really noted is that they have a big, I wouldn't say mission statement, it's more like a values statement on their wall about who they are and why they're there and why they're in that community. And I think, you know, Debbie's really talked a lot about that, but I think it's that place of the values that we want to bring, and the other thing is that there are spaces, there is like a library space where people can, you know, hotspot, and there is, like Debbie said, a place where people can come and have a meeting and do things. So it's I guess it's a bit like when we did CAP, you know, that was at that time, that was the vehicle for us to be connected and into the community. And so it's like the cafe kind of thing. It's not about the cafe itself, it's about the vehicle that we can use to connect. And we know that we live in a very strong cafe-minded culture. Yeah.
We as humans don't like change, especially as we grow older. We like to stay where we're rooted, but that's not God's way. Psalm 96 says, "Sing unto me a new song." God loves change, and He wants change. Go back to the time where Christ came. He was going to change the way of worship and change where Christianity, where the new church today began. What happened there? The Jews missed it totally because they didn't want change. They were too stuck in their old traditions that they missed Messiah. We don't want to miss today what God wants to do in this place. We want to move Him. We don't want to be stuck in our old ways, how we've always done church. We want to move on to what God has ready for us. We're all excited about this, but it is what people have said, one step at a time, working it out.
moving on from the cafe, like one massive thing that we want to try and do is this intentional living thing. When I spoke to the people overseas, they were like, intentional living, that is awesome. I can't believe you guys want to do that. That is so cool. So a part of that is I'm going to try and get a meeting either with Phil Twyford, because he's literally our neighbour. You know, he's the MP of Te Atatu and Glendine, Eden, or whatever it is. So how have we not tapped into that? And if I have to, I'm going to even go and keep annoying Jacinda Ardern. You know, like I'm all good with doing that. And so, because why not? Why not? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And Rubber Belly. So that's something I'm going to try and do as well. Because why don't we talk to those people about it? That's what's their job, is to do stuff like that. I'm also going to try and get onto the Te Atatu Business Association's group and see if I can become a part of that. Not that I'm a business owner or whatever, but I feel like as a church, maybe we have a place on there. So I'm going to try and do that as well. How that looks, I have no idea. But it's just things, and because, if we want to do this thing where we put up a big, let's say 5-story apartment building where we do this intentional living, we can't just do that. We actually have to get permission from our neighbours and things like that. And if we do that right now, people are going to be like, who are you and why are you doing this? Whereas if we're in the neighbourhood and we actually know our neighbours and we talk to them about what we want to do, then they're more likely to go, actually, yeah, that's a really cool idea. So all of these things are stepping stones to do other things. And I guess maybe going back to the cafe, is that's a part of it as well. If people know, hey, these guys are awesome, they've got this awesome cafe, it's not for profit, and part of those profits go to this intentional living that's down here, they're one and the same as well, and it's all going to be joined together, and they'll be more likely to go, yeah, because you guys are doing awesome things up there with your cafe or whatever, I want to get behind what you guys are doing here in this place as well. Yeah. I reckon up there, you got more street appearance up there. And I'm probably going to say what Mum's about to say, but what we would do is we'd put our cafe up there, and you'd have like, where the manse is, 4 Gloria Ave, 4/2 Gloria. So right now, Mum's standing in 2 Gloria Ave. Yeah, so all you people are in 2 Gloria Ave. I'm in 4 something. So this section here, literally from this point of the church here, that way, is 2 Gloria Ave. To a certain point up there where it's 4 Gloria Ave. So what I'd like to do is put the cafe up there with office spaces above that. And then behind that, coming down towards us, we would put a new auditorium. But it wouldn't look like this. It wouldn't be set out for church. It would be set out for an auditorium that people could come and use for conferences, and the women's group could come and use it, and all this different kind of stuff. So it wouldn't look like a church auditorium. It would look like a auditorium where you can put dividers in so people can use it for smaller meeting areas and things like that. And then so we can move into there. So that would be, the way I see it, our first step. So that while that is getting built, we can still use this as our church building, and we can still continue to do what we want to do in the community and as a church here, and then move into there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's a good idea. Okay. I have just 2 minutes, and then I'm going to pray, and then we'll finish and clean up. Intentional living, for those of you who don't know what that is. So if we built a 5-story building here with a whole lot of different apartments, first of all, it would be called mixed. They would be mixed apartments. So we would sell some. We would use some of them for social housing. and then we would intentionally put some people in here, living in here. So maybe David and his family would come and live here, and maybe Amana might come and live here, and maybe when Abby and Maddie get married, they might come and live here, and then maybe Gail and Graham might come and live here. Kohine might come and live here. So we've got about 5 or 6 of the apartments filled with people who want to help with intentional living. And that would mean that they would say, right, one day a week is going to be, we're going to have a community dinner where everybody in the apartments, we all get together in the lounge and we come and we eat together. Or, yeah, we're going to have dinner at the cafe. So intentional living would be that. So they would intentionally get to know their neighbours, try and help them out, especially with the social housing, you know, it's about supporting the neighbourhood, essentially. And, yeah, so that's intentional living if you didn't know what it was. Yeah, anyway, let's pray. No.
Right. So again, these are just conversations that we're having. Like, we're open to so much. We're not saying this is exactly what we want to do and this is what we're doing. If you're not with us, then go away. We're saying this is what our vision is, and we're still evolving that, and we don't necessarily know what it looks like. But if we don't talk about it in this kind of a way, or as a board, or together, it's not going to go anywhere. So we need to keep having these conversations about different things. And one thing that they said, and which I'd love